What's up, rare spice people? You're looking at chervil. It's an herb that I had to grow myself. You really can't find it. We're in Florida. You know, over here in America, it's not very commonly used. It's used a lot in French cooking, and so that's the reason I'm making this video. Hopefully, I'll come up with something interesting enough, and I'll put it together. But this is my chervil growing project that I'm working on here at home, and the absolute purpose of this was so that I could make my own Bearnise sauce, which is just awesome. And chervil is one of the ingredients that you just absolutely have to have if you want it to taste right. The first time I made it, I used parsley, and it was fine, but I didn't know what I was talking about. So a lot of places, or you know, a lot of recipes will say, I use parsley or tarragon and all that. It's fine if that's what you want, but once you grow chervil and you taste it, you'll realize that it's definitely special. So this is going to be a video series. If it's interesting enough, and I get to the end of it, I'll put it all together. So what I did, I haven't really rehearsed what I'm going to say about here. This is old soil. I used a bunch of old soil. I didn't know what I was doing, and I just wanted to see what was going on, and that included sand, just dirt or whatever you want to call it, from just around my house. And you can see there is some weeds growing in there, which I've had to pick. Chervil doesn't want to fight anybody. It doesn't want to. It's really good if you don't have seeds in your soil. All right, easy as that. These are also examples of chervil that's growing in just kind of spent potting soil. I didn't want to waste it. I just needed to kind of get stuff started. I didn't have any seed starting mix, so I said, why not? And I don't regret it, because now I got, I can use these as examples of different things. These were grown in, I think it was slightly better soil, so as you can see, you get a bit of a better product. I don't think there was sand in this one, but there was definitely spent soil. They did a little bit better. Here I started, these were actually grown in bad soil, but when I potted them over, I used Fox Farm Ocean Forest potting soil, and they did pretty good. And they say not to transplant this because I think it's going to have a carrot root. At this moment, I don't have much information about the root of how this works out when it matures. So these did better because when I potted them up, I put them in Fox Farm. But as you can see, there's a little bit of algae. The colors might be off from what I'm seeing with my own eyes, but I can see how the perlite is green. So I'm noticing that. And once again, that might not be a biggie. Over here, I transferred them into Fox Farm mixed with peat, like a block of peat. Just go get a big block of peat moss. I think it's sphagnum moss or whatever, but there was wood chips in it, so it could be busted up wood fluff too. These seem to do a little bit better in the transplant because I think peat, like perlite, vermiculite is great for aerating things, but I think perlite can mess with the roots of chervil. They really want to be in something maybe a little more packed, and so peat moss seems to be a little bit better because it is fluffy, yes, but perlite might not always be the answer for everything. These ones tipped over. I actually messed these all up, so they're looking bad, and they're in a little bit smaller containers as the back row, if you can tell. And they're messed up because I knocked them over and I replanted them. They say it's kind of really sensitive to transplant, and that is proof because they're not happy now, but they will come back. Also, another thing about damaging them, real quick, that I've learned, if you do damage them, here's an example. I would trim, let me put my finger in here, I would trim all this damaged stuff off that doesn't look too good. It's yellowed, and I wouldn't actually use it in cooking at this point. I hope I can focus here. And in the middle, there's going to be legs. I could find you a better example. Hopefully it'll focus on this one. So in the middle of all this, there's new growth coming out. I'm trying to get it to focus better. I would cut, if this was damaged real bad, where am I at? Let's see. I would cut this real nice one off, this one off, and then it would leave that little thing, and that'll come back into kind of like a whole new plant for you without all the damage. So if you do damage your chervil, leave that little kind of little elbow pit between the leaves. Well, it's really blurry. In the middle part will grow back. Alright, so what I have over here is more seedlings. This is 72 here. More seedlings going, and they had just started coming up. It's pretty cold here in Florida. We call 60 degrees cold, but this is definitely probably a winter thing to do if you're in a place like Florida. And you know, the Gulf Coast, anywhere, I'd probably suggest wait until winter to even mess with this, because they might not come up if it's too hot, and you definitely don't want to get them too sunny. I'm looking at a east-facing wall. Over my neighbor's fence there is where the sun rises, so we don't get any of that real harsh afternoon western sun at all. So 12 o'clock, noon, and then to 1 p.m. you're absolutely in the shade here, and it really doesn't get too much of the sunrise. So it's definitely a shade-loving plant. These ones are from different, what I got is the name. Some shops on eBay are kind enough to include a common name, which sometimes really helps. It's great to be scientific, but it's good to have a common name. So this is a Vertissimo. That's how I'm going to choose to pronounce it. And then over here I have what was called curled chervil. This right here, I think that looks the best, was called winter chervil. So if you're trying to make a seed selection, you're on eBay, you don't know what to get, maybe get all of them. They're like $1.90 for a packet of 300 or something like that. It's pretty cheap. So at the moment I'm trying to see which ones come up better, but yet I've already tasted 2 different types of chervil, and unfortunately I didn't label them after I transplanted them. And one of them was just the sweetest thing in the whole world, and I kind of got used to the way it tasted. It's basically kind of like a piece of black licorice, even if you don't like black licorice. It's not like eating a big old handful of Good and Plenty's. It's just a different type of licorice taste. And one of them was real nice and sweet, and then I ate another one, and it just was kind of parsley-ish, actually, and didn't have that licorice flavor that I was looking for. So not only am I trying to focus on which one worked better so I know which seeds to use next time, but part of the experiment is if this grows better but it doesn't taste as sweet as this, I'm still going to go with the sweeter tasting one no matter the difficulties that I face, because it flavors everything. And so that is part of my chervil experiment. I'm going to get back to y'all. I said it was going to be a short video, and here we are. I've talked forever about it. And what I do, I have a box over on the other side of the house in a shady part of the house, and it has a little bit more alkaline soil, and I'm going to see what happens there. So there's not much information at this point on how to home grow chervil. There are a few videos you can watch. You can find them. I think I found maybe 7 to 10 videos that I want to be nice, but it really didn't help me out too much. What really helped is just going ahead and get them started and looking at them and judging for yourself. So that's what I recommend. You're not going to find it in even some of the places like Fresh Market or Whole Foods where you think you might actually get it. I couldn't find it at all, and there's only a couple places online that sell dried, and I've also heard, I don't know for a fact, that dried just loses that flavor. And so once again, if you're getting dried chervil, that's great. It's probably better than nothing, but you're never going to experience what it's like when you just snip it off of the plant. Okay, well, I hope I haven't bored you to tears. Just kind of moving the camera around between these little spots here just to do anything, for God's sakes. But that is what I know about it at this moment, and you guys are going to do this with me, and I'll put them all together before I release them to make sure it's even worth listening to. In next video I'll show you the box that I have. I just sowed the seeds. I direct sowed those, and we're just going to see if there's any difference. I did a bit of planning on how this whole thing is going to work, and I'm kind of growing them on a hillside. I'll show you that next video. Stay tuned for more chervil updates. We're going to learn together. Thank you for watching. Take care.